Battle Isle 3 Shadow of the Emperor by Blue Byte, who are sadly no more, is a turn-based strategy game set on the planet Chromos. You take the role of the disillusioned politician Caro, who had the strange fortune to crash land on a deserted island, then curried the favour of a scheming disembodied tyrant and became his trusty right hand in the quest to conquer the world. I will admit to being a bit ignorant of the game's and series' storyline. From what I understand though, in the previous game you played a kidnapped human chosen seemingly at random and appointed command of the entire planet's military might to save Chromos from an evil computer called TitanNet. This done, he becomes a revered hero and leader. In the third game, one of the key antagonists is said hero's pissant son. While arguably a sad legacy for the one-time protagonist, it is rather satisfying to hand his idiot spawn his own arse on the battlefield. If playing this game, I'd highly recommend that you learn German first. While there is an English version available on goodoldgames.com, the resultant dubbing in the cutscenes is best described as unpleasant. Allow me to demonstrate.
This is Class, leader of the bio race, Kai Warrior. How dare you attack the Julian troops who defended TitanNet and liberated the whole of Chromos?
This fish is said to possess strange powers. We, the tribe of the Zoleri, thank you for fighting the military. However, you are destroying not only the members of the enemy tribe, but our estates too. We must live, Administrator, but how?
I thank you for your respect towards my people who have been much abused by the cowardly drool.
During the course of each level, you'll be treated to many such scenes as these, and even if the voice acting is ghastly...
So what? Factum!
Yes, indeed. So what? The cutscenes provide additional story information and also surprisingly useful data such as weather reports. There are two types of weather in the game, nice and shite, and both have differing effects on your unit's movement capabilities. This is just one of a good number of examples of attention to detail which shows that what the game lacks in terms of storytelling, it more than makes up for with gameplay. At the start of each level, your forces are loosely arrayed on one side of the map and the enemies on the other. You are given a specific mission objective to follow which, intentionally or otherwise, will equate to go beat the crap out of the other side. You control air, land and sea units and will soon discover that some are ideally suited to certain tasks such as scouting or capturing buildings. You will also find that certain war machines are better employed against specific types of enemy, whilst others are versatile megaliths able to engage pretty much anything, whilst others are just plain useless. You'll often find yourself in possession of factories allowing you to build certain types of units to replenish your own depleted stock. These also allow you to repair, refuel and rearm your existing war-weary forces. To do any of these things costs energy and resources however, which build up steadily with each turn. The more buildings you have, the more you get with each turn. Keep in mind that the enemy also has factories and can replace its own lost units as well. If you don't press your advantage, once you have one, they can easily rebuild and turn your daring advance into an embarrassing rout. Battles are managed through an incredibly simple point-and-click system. Don't be fooled however, for while it may be easy to trundle over to an enemy unit and launch missiles at it, it is far harder to do so effectively. On the normal difficulty setting or above, what you see of the map is limited to what lies in your unit's field of vision. These units must also be fueled and rearmed as needed by separate utility vehicles. Said vehicles, of course, are flimsy, unarmed things that tend to explode if someone so much as shakes a menacing fist in their direction. Getting these vehicles to where they're needed can be difficult, especially if your units are stuck within reach of 40 gun-wielding enemies or are off-road in the middle of a snowstorm. If you're not careful, you can wind up with a pile of tanks stuck in the middle of nowhere, unmovable, unfixable, and completely useless. As you might imagine, it's rather more of a problem with air units, which may suddenly find themselves subject to the ravages of gravity if they run out of fuel. Your forces also level up with every successful hit and kill they make. This in turn increases their effectiveness, particularly against far weaker units, and also increases their resistance to damage, again particularly against far weaker units. The interface design is incredibly basic, almost resembling the kind of game you'd play during office hours and minimise whenever your detestable employer shuffles past. What livens up battles, however, are the charming animations which show your units firing your selected weapons and the opponent's units exploding. Whilst these themselves are basic and repetitive, they do help to convey the impression of being in an actual war rather than a themed game of chess. A decent, that is to say plausible, necessary, commendable, but frequently infuriating feature of combat is that strategy is required to prevail. A zergling rush of seaplanes will achieve nothing save for an embarrassing mess of plane detritus on the grass. An additional degree of challenge comes in the higher difficulty settings when you have no idea where the enemy is or how many of them there are. A bold advance may place your proudest units directly before the twitchy turrets of a pillbox. Or 10. Being turn-based, you'll spend some time picking at the enemy's front lines before inevitably pressing the end turn button, and then quiver in horror as the enemy takes their turn. You'll find yourself taking particular note of this box here, which displays your total number of units. Watch how it decreases, and decreases, and decreases. Perhaps you should start the level again. I'm sure it'll go better next time. Trouble is, there's no restart option, so be sure to save on the first turn, or else note down the level codes you get after completing each level. A stubborn determination to conquer the wretched levels that mock you with their unconquerable nature, as well as the curse of one more turnism, make this game damn near impossible to put down once you get into it, despite how repetitive and frustrating it can be. In the end, it's the simple playability, the beastly but compelling level of challenge, and the joy of destruction and conquest that will force you to play this game, even as you steadily come to despise it for stealing away your life and pride. I believe that Battle Isle 3 is the kind of game that many a gamer will look back on with nostalgic longing, from the golden age where graphical limitations compelled designers to put actual effort into making their products fun, engaging, and replayable. Or else just the golden age of our youths when we were far easier to impress and the inevitable cynicism of life hadn't worked its way into our souls just yet. Battle Isle 3 is about as far from flashy as you can get, but it's a hugely enjoyable game and a fine continuation of what I'm assuming is a rightly beloved series.